Welcome back to the Creative Boom podcast. I'm your host, Katie Cowan. For episode 57, my guest is Trent Payne, a London-born, award-winning creative who is currently the creative lead at TouchNote, an app for sending printed, personalised postcards, greeting cards, and other photo products. During Trent's hugely varied and successful career, he has run a thriving creative studio located in 2 countries, worked in-house and at multidisciplinary marketing agencies. He's worked on campaigns for brands including MTV, Ben & Jerry's, Nike and Warner Brothers. It all began in 1994 when, instead of going to university after art college, he accepted a full-time role working directly under legendary creative director Mike Shafran at the Studio A3 in London. In this episode, we delve deeper into his early career and why he wanted to get into advertising. Apparently, it was something to do with the actor Eddie Murphy. We also hear what it was like back in the early 90s as a black student hoping to make it into that creative world. And we look at how things may or might not have changed in nearly 3 decades. We also talk about the differences between freelancing, working in-house and agency side. This is certainly a frank and open discussion about the changing creative industries, unconventional career paths, diversity and perhaps the lack of it, and the power of speaking up when we really have to. But before my chat with Trent, I must mention our sponsor for season 2, and that's Shillington, the original graphic design bootcamp where in as little as 3 months you can go from dreamer to designer. We'll be hearing some helpful career advice from Shillington later in the show. But for now, here's my chat with Trent. Hi Trent, thanks for joining me.
Hi Katie. Nice to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been quite a long time in the making. We've had a nice chat over the phone and put the world to rights. So I'm a little apprehensive of what we're going to discuss in this episode.
Yeah, we've normally in our intro. I think we first got in contact correspondence-wise over email a few years ago, and yes. I think we had our very first phone call. Was it December, January of this year?
Yeah, it was nice. I think we chatted for an hour. It was
about
just
everything.
Lovely about everything. Yeah, because I was so used to doing kind of video calls at the time and WhatsApp groups. So whenever I speak to anybody on the phone, it's kind of really nice, quite surreal, but just normal, you know.
Yeah. It's good. It's good when that happens. Yeah, it means for me it feels comfortable because it means that I'm speaking to a grown up.
Yes, exactly. And speaking of grown-ups, you're I think a little bit older than me. So I feel like
just a little bit. Just turned 44.
Right, congratulations.
And I feel good. I feel good. Yeah.
Haven't got any niggles?
No, not yet. Although I've given up playing football, that's for sure.
Oh, really?
The recovery time is just too much at my age.
It's brutal, isn't it? My husband plays every Thursday. He's playing tonight, actually, and he just comes back and he always says, "Never again, never again. I'm ruined," and he can't get up the stairs without being in severe pain.
Yeah, I think the last time I played was it was like a few months before my 40th birthday, and I tore 2 ligaments in my ankle, and the doctor was like, "Look, just stop it, just stop it." So that was it. I'm all or nothing. It's the same way that I approach creative. If you're in there and you've got an opportunity, then you've got to live for the moment and just put your all in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but then know when to stop.
Creatively or
I don't know. You can decide. But you started off in 1994 in London.
Oh my God, 94.
Yeah, I'm taking us right back. I'm going to make you feel really old. 1994. What was happening in 94? Gosh, the early 90s. Drum and bass was coming to a head, wasn't it? And we had Nirvana and
yeah. I think it was. It's funny you say that, because I you said 1994 and I just had that reaction. But the 90s, we had Britpop.
Yeah.
The UK, I think it was, partly because of the Labour government and that change, and then the energy, and there was just even for myself as when I started in the industry, I was 18 years old, so I just left Kingston College, and at the time, I didn't really see my career being to where it is now. I just knew that I wanted to be in advertising. Eventually, I wanted to be, a big shot in an agency somewhere. But I suppose, again, at the time, just culturally, it was just a nice time to break out almost, because like I said, that socially there was this energy and creativity was absolutely the explosion of British art. Things like the Tate Modern was coming into being and things like this. So I used to live in Kennington. So, that the whole South Bank growing up in the 80s and the late 70s was awful. But in the 90s, especially in the early 90s, there was this huge investment into the UK. And I suppose with the creative arts, whether it be TV, film, advertising at the time, music, everything was just really starting to come into its own and really had a contextualized British feel. I think it was
a very positive time, wasn't it? Very optimistic.
Yeah. And I think globally as well, Britain has always been at the forefront, I suppose, of music globally and pop culture as such.
Yes.
But again, when we look at things like advertising and brands and things like this, I think technology at the time, it was the early days of the internet.
It was exciting.
It was really, really exciting. And I kind of feel, I was living in Poland for 9 years. And then when I came back to the UK in 2018, it kind of felt a bit like the 90s again. Music was exploding again, like Stormzy and grime music, and this quintessentially British ownership of visuals and sound and movies, and the British actors invading Netflix and invading the US and things like this. So it's a great time. But
that I could kind of if I kind of can compare something, it's like Glastonbury when Stormzy was headlining, and then looking back at 1995 when I first went to Glastonbury, and how much has changed in that time. It it does make you feel really old. But you think, wow, culturally, there's so much that's happened.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So was it difficult to come out of college and find a job? Was it tough back then, or was it thriving?
For me, it was scary. And I'll tell you for why. I went to Kingston College. Back then, I'd done, what was it? I think it was just a national diploma in graphic design. Again, since the age of 14, I knew I wanted to be in advertising. I was always creative. Why
advertising? What was the sort of...
Well, to cut a long story short, my mum's a payroll director.
Right.
But she would do catering on the side for christenings and weddings and things like this. And with my...
What's your mum's name?
Paulina.
Paulina. Oh, that's a beautiful name.
I would always help her to, design the interior of the wedding spaces and help her arrange the flowers and spend endless hours creating the flower decorations made out of icing for the cakes.
Oh, wow.
So, and this was from the age of 11. So I think that's where creatively, week on week, month to month, especially during wedding season in the summer holidays and things like this, I was just being creative and not really realizing the artistic values that I was actually picking up.
Right.
And then I would start, just drawing and sketching and things like this. And then my mum would say to her clients, "Oh, my son can, he can create your wedding invitation." 'Cause
Good old mum.
in my school in 1988, good old Haley Manor in South Croydon, we were one of the first schools in the UK to have a Mac.
Oh, wow.
So-
Gosh, that is epic.
Yeah, I've been using Macs since 1988, and I have never ever used any other device
you're a
since
purist.
1980. I'm a proper purist. I've never used any. I couldn't switch on or turn off a Dell. Like I just couldn't. I wouldn't know how to. I just wouldn't know how to. So I got into designing, the school newspaper and things like this using Palantino and Comic Sans
Nice.
and things like this.
Oh, I love it.
And then, one thing led to another and led to another and led to another. And I've got family who owned different shops and off licenses, and I would create their, just posters, whether they be hand drawn and things like this. And then I'm not embarrassed to say this actually, because it's the truth. I watched Eddie Murphy's movie Boomerang.
Oh, right. Okay.
Where he's like this advertising marketing exec / creative director coming up with cool stuff. And he had all of these beautiful women, and he was like, inside this perfume brand, he was, the creative guy who everybody looked up to. And I'm like, that's what advertising is. That's what, hang on a minute. So I can take these skills and then become that. And I just like, I want to be that guy.
Amazing. I love that.
I want to be that guy. And I'm not ashamed to say that. And when I decided to go into, to apply for art college and go into Kingston, funnily enough, I got rejected from, and this was 16, I got rejected from Croydon College. That was like the go. If you go to a Croydon school, you go to Croydon College.
Right.
I got rejected by them. I got rejected by quite a few. And I would go further and further out of London. And then I finally ended up at Kingston.
Not a bad place to end up.
It was not a bad place at all. I ended up there. And that was partly because there was no careers advice. I remember sitting in front of the careers advisor with my dad at the age of 15 and saying, okay, I want to get into advertising and graphic design. And
wow.
she turned round to me, to my dad. This was 1992. And she says, you'll never make it. I don't think it's for you. And my dad grabbed me by the hand and he was like, we're done here. And we just walked out and my dad took me to a library. He was like, right, I don't know anything about advertising. I just know that there's no black people in advertising. So you need to show me where your career path is going to go, how you get into advertising. When you go to college, what do you do? When you go to university, what do you do? How are you going to get a job out of this? And if you can come back and tell me what your career path is going to be, then I know that you know what it's going to take and you've got my support. So that's what I've done.
Amazing. So you worked backwards.
Yeah.
And then look where you are now. I'm absolutely, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Little kid from South Croydon who was told that he wasn't going to make it.
Yeah.
and so I suppose there's been a little bit of rocket fuel in your, running behind you that sort of said, I'll show them.
It was to get a place at Kingston. And I think at that point, it was when I really started to respect and understand what makes good creatives. And it really was trying to bring something new to the party or trying to have a point of difference. And if you couldn't have a point of difference and you couldn't bring something new, the power of the remix something that's already there.
Yes. Learn and kind of, adapt it to your own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you ended up working for A3 under Mike Shafran.
Yeah.
Wow.
A3 was a great studio. They serviced all of the old school agencies at the time. Everything was hand drawn. Letraset. The typesetting was done by hand.
Wow.
All of the visuals were done by hand, and they were just in the middle of setting up a Mac department.
Great.
Just to speed things up. An old friend got me in the door, literally came to my end of year show at Kingston, where I was the only student out of the 50 students that were there who done their end of year show all on a Mac.
Yeah.
Gosh. Which I got deducted grades for some weird reason.
Weird.
Yeah, I won't go into the politics of that, but being one of only 2 black kids out of class of 50 was not easy. It was not easy.
No, I bet.
There were nights when, we'd have to go through certain areas, and we would literally just run through. Like a bunch of us black kids after college would wait and go home in groups because we didn't want to, get beaten up basically by by the local NF and stuff like that. And this was like 1993. So it was
scary.
It was pretty tough then. And it was the time when Stephen Lawrence, sadly, life was taken. So I was exactly the same age, going to college and stuff like that. So it was quite a scary time. So yeah, A3. I got the job at A3, and it was extremely exciting. I left Kingston College on, I think it was the 5th of May.
Yeah.
And on the 6th of May, I was working.
Wow. That's great. Straight into a job
in Soho, and. At the time, I was just visualizing. So, the creative directors from Y&R, GGT. At the time, it was Saatchi & Saatchi, so it's just before the split. And all of these world-class D&AD award-winning creative directors would come in 10 o'clock in the morning, drinking wine. It was like Mad Men. It was exactly like Mad Men. People were smoking in the office.
Wow.
And guys like Mike Shaffron would just come in literally with that beer mat or a piece of paper or a napkin with their concept, and he'd be like, Trent, visualize this for us, mate. And I'm like, what? Because do your font stuff and da-da-da-da-da. And they would be sitting beside me.
Yeah.
Directing, and I'd be there visualizing. And then after my first 2 months, my conversations with them was like, I don't want to be creating visuals for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I didn't go to university.
Yes.
So could you guys teach me how you come up conceptually with these ideas and tell me what happens inside your agencies and stuff like this? And I'll show you how to use a Mac.
Genius.
So that was the trade-off. I was showing them how I was putting these things together, using and they would be, again, just sitting beside me and go, okay, so this is the idea, but this is how we came up with the idea. This was the process. So we sat with a copywriter and I sat with an account director and this and that and this and that. And it was like I can't remember how long I was there for. I think it was just under 2 years or 18 months or something. But in that period of time, I possibly learned more about advertising than spending, 3 or 4 years in university.
And you were hungry for it. You were young and you had that energy and like just looking at your CV thereafter, it just set you up for this fantastic career. And was it diverse back then?
No. No.
I asked that gently.
No.
And then I suppose it was difficult making work as well that wasn't diverse.
Do you know what? That was never, at the time, it was never something that crossed my mind.
Yeah.
I was so excited to be creating, or not being creating, but visualizing campaigns for Eurostar.
Yeah.
It was like Barclays Bank. It was the last year of cigarette advertising, so it was working on Silk Cut and stuff like this.
Oh my God, Silk Cut! Do you remember when you could get 10 of those for like 89p?
or even just walk into a shop and just, buy a single stick of cigarette.
Oh my goodness. I'm too old.
It was that like, that high level conceptual type of advertising, and then going home and showing my mum and dad, they were like, "You were working on that? Bloody hell."
Oh.
Why are they letting and my dad would be like, "Why are they letting an 18-year-old kid work on this stuff?" I'm like, "I don't know." He goes, "Well, you must be good then, own it."
Amazing.
So yeah, it was the beginning of, I suppose I was exposed to the mind and the insight of creative directors very early on in my career, which I was very, very lucky to experience. So the representation within the industry, wasn't an issue for me back then. I wasn't established enough to even care about it, to be honest.
You noticed it though, did you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The
person who got me the role in A3, he was black. And that was it. The only other black person we knew in the entire industry, who we never met, or who I never met for another 14 years, was Trevor Robinson. Everyone was, because it was a tango ad at the time. And so all we knew was that this guy called Trevor Robinson created an advert which is on TV, which everybody loves. So that was it. It was me, a guy who got me the job in A3, and Trevor Robinson at the time were the only black people I knew or was exposed to. Yeah, there were producers and things like this, but creatives, no, like absolutely no.
And how does it compare to today? Has much changed, or? I shouldn't laugh. Oh,
no, you should laugh because it's bloody hilarious. It's like, you can either laugh or scream. It's not much has changed. I remember reading Campaign. This must have been about 2001, and at the time, I think they mentioned it was like less than 3% of the industry is made up of ethnic minorities. And then I went, had my career in the UK, went to Poland, came back in 2018, and then read another article by Campaign, and it was like less than 3% of the, and I'm like, Jesus, like nothing has changed. And
is it because it starts at the very sort of root of education and having, people who will really stick their neck out and say to young black kids who never thought of a creative career, or a career in advertising, just to sort of open their minds. Because I think even when I was at school, there wasn't, they taught you stuff, you came out with grades, but there wasn't ever any kind of, this is what graphic design is, and this is how you get into it. And
it's even now, there is, I've done mentoring with mentoring groups and things like this, and you go into these mentoring groups, and I'm always the only creative.
Right.
I am always the only creative. They tend to, in these mentoring groups, the people who are mentoring are from finance or from tech.
Sorry, no offense against people who work in finance, but boring.
But or from law, or from things like that. And I've never seen anybody, or I've never been invited really to do well, except now I've got one coming up in the future in June. Which is almost like a creative summit, a creative platform to talk about the creative industry, because the creative industry is everything from whenever anybody talks about the creative industries with black people, it's always about music, and it annoys me.
It's
that stereotype. Like when I was growing up, if you wanted to make money as a black person, you either became an actor, music, do music, or do sports. And these areas are still perpetuated in the from the creative industry towards black people as the industries that you get into to make money. That's true if you have great skill and you can get to the top in a very short space of time and earn big money. But when we're talking about the rest of the creative industry, whether we're talking about producing, whether we're talking about becoming a DOP, whether we're talking about real craftsmanship within our industry.
All the things you just wouldn't expect or know about until you're actually sort of immersed in it, really.
These parts of our creative industry are not being spoken about enough.
I feel like we should go into schools and do something. That's kind of something that has been bubbling away, something I've been like, mulling over, like just to go into schools and talk to kids and say, look, these are all these different things that you can do. And this is how you do it.
It's a funny one. I mean, I'm surprised on still the lack of representation within agencies. There tends to be, and again, when people talk about the lack of representation in the industry, again, it's more or less from like a producer side or account handler side, or going up to the C-suites. There's not much conversation around creatives.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, and
I think
I'm kind of tired of being the only black person in the room. Like it's tiring. It really is. I don't think people appreciate how much energy it takes to.
I can't imagine because I'm white and have
but
always
you're a
lived.
woman. But you're a woman, and surely you have faced certain pushback and certain situations where you've been the only woman in the room, or you've been the only voice, and you've had to. It gets
being
tiring.
patronised. Yeah, like I remember very early on in my journalism days when I first started off in radio, I would go to news conferences and I'd be the only woman there. And everyone else were blokes, people who were working for the government, MPs. You'd go along to these press conferences, and the amount of times you'd just get laughed out the room. It was really kind of like discouraging. And I always think it's like, I always hate people who get impatient with learner drivers on the road because they forget what it was like being absolutely terrified behind a wheel. And I'm just like, just put on a podcast, chill out, just give them space. Let them breathe, and they'll get on the road. Anyway, strange analogy, but yeah, I mean, it must be very frustrating. Have you ever sort of had the whole, this has happened to black people? Trent, what do you think?
I had that last year. I've never been one to really use my position to have a platform, basically a soapbox.
Right.
It's nice. I must say, it is amazing to see, and I think lots of what should give lots of people of color, and not even of color, but from different gender backgrounds and sexuality and stuff like that, is there is so much more conversation and so much more networks and so much more support now than there ever was. I mean, it's the contrast of when I was getting into the industry. There was nothing. I had nobody I could talk to. I didn't feel that I could approach the big agencies and things like this. So, and I kind of like came in through the back door, to be honest. Let's face it. I didn't go to university. I didn't have this old boys network. I was never a creative that classically teamed up with a copywriter and moved from agency to agency and all of these type of things. But the support that, or the forum space for people to have these discussions is huge. Is huge now. And that's quite uplifting. It's quite uplifting, and it's really, really positive. So,
and do you feel like you can talk about these things more now than ever before? And or is it something that you deliberately avoided?
No. I've always, and there's a little funny story which I'll probably come back to. I think when I started to use my voice more was when I was working for, I left A3 and then I moved to an agency called Curio Associates, which at the time was one of the biggest and best agencies for film marketing.
Huge.
It changed. It really did change my life in the sense of creativity. It was all film marketing and working on film posters and being at photo shoots with Rowan Atkinson and Sacha Baron Cohen, and, you know, being in my young 20s, it was sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It was amazing, you know,
amazing.
And it was at that time, I think, the time has passed. So we were working on the Ali G movie campaign.
Oh,
and I specifically remember this story because it was, I think, the first time in which I understood the lack of understanding of Black culture within my agency.
Right.
Again, the agency was 45 people. I was the only Black male there. There was, and I was like a midweight designer. There was another Black female there. She was an amazing art director.
Yeah.
Everybody else was white in the agency.
Yeah.
And we were working on the Ali G movie campaign, and the copywriter had come up with some of the lines from the movies and stuff like that. And they wanted to, excuse me, any women of color, they wanted to use the word punani.
Oh, no.
And I was like, you can't do that. Like, you can't put posters out with that word on it, because that's like using the C word. You can't.
Yes.
And nobody in the agency understood that, because they had just heard this word via the Ali G show and thought, because he says it, we can use it. And I'm like, guys, no. And I literally created such a fuss. I was borderline, like, stamped my foot on the table when I was like, I'm leaving this agency. You guys are a bunch of... It was the only way, like, I could get my voice heard, was just literally jumping up and down until...
And they listened to you?
They listened to me. They listened to me. And it was at that point I was like, oh, hang on a minute. People are listening to what I'm saying here.
Yeah. It's important. This
is quite important. Maybe I should start, you know, looking at the work we're creating, what the agency is creating, and be that voice of, you know, of reason and understanding and sharing and helping people to understand Black culture beyond jerk chicken, hip hop, and the Nine Hill Carnival.
Yeah. So, and bring your perspective, you know, this is what we need if we're creating content for any kind of industry. It has to have so many different diverse voices to be able to ensure the message is
It does. And in the same way that the agency, Curio at the time, which were, again, like I said, apart from that one incident, it was, you know, the best time, you know, working on countless movie campaigns, everything from Love Actually to About a Boy, like I said, to, you know, Tomb Raider movies and Bond movies and all of this kind of stuff. But creatively, it really upped my skills, because, you know, it was Photoshop day and night. This was in the time where there were no such thing as 8-hour working days. You would work until the job was done. There were times when we worked, you know, two days without sleep. You know,
I don't think they'd get away with that now.
No.
Different times.
Different times. But it seasoned me very, very well.
And then, like, after working in all these amazing agencies, you later worked at Ben and Jerry's in-house, didn't you?
I did.
How was that, the transition from, you know, studio to brand only?
It was it was eye-opening. It was eye-opening in the sense that at the time I didn't understand the difference between working in-house and the agency environment. Again, when you don't have mentors and you don't have people to actually talk to, or, you know, you don't have podcasts and articles of people telling their stories. For me at the time, it was a no-brainer. Ben and Jerry's, I like the brand. Yeah. I get to be the European art director at the age of 25 or whatever, for some ridiculously young age. And I was like...
Incredible.
Why the hell are they employing me for? Admittedly, I was doing freelance work for like a good 9 months before. Yeah. And then they were like, look, I think we should create this role in-house, and I think we should have a team in-house. And, you know, not many brands were doing it at the time either.
Right.
And it was just at the time when Ben & Jerry's were being acquired by Unilever. So there was this whole transition happening within the brand at the time. So I suppose I was at the right place at the right time doing the right work. And as soon as I got in there working with a great team of people, and for the first time, I was working with the CEO was a woman, the brand manager, woman, marketing manager, woman. I was working with these amazing women who...
Great.
It was a tiny, small office in Windsor at the time. But then there was also the logistics director sitting 2 desks away, and there'll be the sales director working another 2 desks away. So I was actually starting to not just work on consumer facing stuff, but B2B stuff. And to be able to do that, I was spending a lot of time with the sales teams to really understand, well, how are you guys selling? What's the terminology you guys use when you're going into Tesco's and Sainsbury's and things like this? And then there was the logistics side of things. So really understanding the DNA of a brand, not just what they wanted to put out to the consumers. And, it was the beginning of them talking about social justice and climate change and all of these things. Ben & Jerry's are one of the leading brands for this stuff. So again, it was just exciting for me to be inside an amazing brand at the beginning of this rollout in Europe and the UK. But also lots of the CSR stuff, the social and environmental campaigns, ideas and activities that we were starting to instigate at the time and develop at the time have stood the test of time and inspired so many other brands. And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. So I didn't really appreciate how great it was to work inside a brand until I left them. I did not appreciate that until I left them. And then I was like, okay.
Because it's slower, isn't it? You've got more time and resources.
You've got more time to think. You've got more time to plan. You can be... In the agency world, everyone talks about being brave. I understand what that means now.
Yeah.
Before I was in a brand, I thought being brave was just don't hold back on talking, on saying your truth.
Yeah.
Now I understand that you have to be brave in an agency environment because you have a very short window of time to do a great job, to expose yourself. Do you know what I mean? As an agency to do, because you're almost like project to project now. It's very rare that agencies have like retained accounts and things like this. People are shifting money left and right. You have to be quite flexible, which is why I've always liked working in small agencies, small but impactful agencies. I've never been a big agency type of person. I don't like the politics.
No, it's never fun.
I don't like the politics. But yeah, working inside a brand, which I'm doing now, so I've almost come a little bit full circle.
Yeah.
You have the time to listen to other people's ideas in the brand.
Yes.
Like somebody might have, maybe we should be doing that. And you hear it in the corner of you hear a little whisper and then you write it down. And then you have time to develop that idea and then go back to the stakeholders within the brand and go, maybe we should be doing this, maybe we should be doing that. And they're more likely to place bets, essentially, give you a small budget to make it work, or, then send a brief out to an external agency for them to then take the idea and push it forward. So
sounds fun.
I would definitely say to young creatives that, or any creatives, don't just think you're a good designer just because you work in an agency or you work in a great agency. Working for brands, working inside a brand, you can really, really make a difference. Do you know what I mean? Like you can make a real difference in the success of something. Plus, it's better to be closer to the money.
And now for a little break to get a word from our sponsor, Shillington, the original graphic design bootcamp. Lavish Saini is a visual designer and also a teacher at Shillington's Manchester campus here in the UK. I asked Lavish, what's your favourite graphic design programme, and is it the same as your favourite one to teach?
I think my favourite tool to teach has got to be InDesign. It's usually viewed as a bit of a standard tool within the industry, but I think it's not the tool itself, it's the foundation that it helps designers kind of understand. I think that foundation, once you've got those core fundamentals of design through using InDesign, I think any designer who can learn that foundation really, really well and be able to kind of use it effectively is really set up for a great career. I think the tool that I love to use, though, is something I quite recently discovered, and it's a bit underground at the moment. It's called Trace3.io, and it's by this really great female developer called Kate, and it's basically a tool that randomly generates sentences or stories using predefined grammatical rules and vocabulary. So it's a really interesting little tool to play around with. And I'm actually using it as a foundation for a project that I'm working on at the moment.
To find out more about studying graphic design at one of Shillington's 6 campuses around the world or via its online course, visit shillingtoneducation.com. Now, back to Trent. It's true, because you do get like that career satisfaction out of having this part to play and seeing your ideas come to life. Whereas in an agency world, like you say, it's a little bit more cutthroat and you just don't have that luxury to sort of, sit back and say, okay, what can work?
Yeah.
That kind of, that kind of nice sort of mental space. But you then went on to become a partner at Steel Drum Studios.
Yes, Steel Drum Studios.
Wow.
God, you bring up these names and I'm like, wow.
I know, but it's so interesting because you started off working for agencies, then you've sort of done a bit of it in-house, and then you've also had the luxury of being a co-founder, a partner. You were brought in, weren't you? And
yeah.
Wow, I mean, you've kind of done it. You've done it all, really.
When I was in Ben & Jerry's, it was very, very hands-on. And one of the things I started to do, which I didn't expect to do, was write. I was copywriting, and I didn't even realize I was doing it. I was just writing and writing. And the copywriting skills was something that I picked up from the amazing copywriters that were at Curio Associates. There's one copywriter in particular, Mark Davies, who was ex big agency and then ended up going back into big agency stuff. But he was he didn't mentor me on purpose, but he would just share things with me and share the beauty of copywriting and the approach that he took. He was almost like, for me, he was my Paul Arden. Just a great creative mind. And then, so like I said, when I was in Ben & Jerry's, as well as, doing the visuals and the illustrations and the photography, it was like, okay, I'm going to change this headline. I'm going to do this headline. And the agency will propose a headline. No, I'm going to change that. And then when I left Ben & Jerry's, I had the opportunity to become a partner in Steel Drum Studios, which was, again, a breakaway. Steel Drum Studios was a production company.
Yeah.
Animation, 3D animation, live action. And I remember the partner at the time, he was like, there's only 3 of us here. Just come in. We could do it with a creative director because, you've got this different kind of mindset. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to learn about production. I wanted to learn how to direct. I wanted to learn about animation. I knew nothing about it. I was exposed to it to a certain degree, but I wasn't really hands-on.
Yeah.
And I thought long and hard about it. But to be honest, I was jobless at the time. And then I was like, okay, let's give this a try.
Yeah.
I think within the first month of being there, I got a phone call from Antonia Call, who was the brand manager at Ben & Jerry's. And she's like, oh, our external agency's messed up on this project. Could you knock out a visual for us, Trent? I was like, yeah, okay, fine. Within the space of a week, we were their agency again. It was like, I'd left Ben & Jerry's, but then they were now a client of ours, and we were doing helping them with TV commercials and doing a lot more
great
photography and this kind of stuff. And it was great. So financially, I essentially came into Steel Drum Studios with a client, and it was a hybrid. So we would half production, half creative agency as well. Which at the time people were like, "What are you guys doing?" and it then started to change the way that I approached work, and then started to speak about myself. I said I was less a creative director and I was just a creative, because one day I was directing photo shoots. The next day I was writing a script for a music video or a TV commercial, and then the next 2 days I was sitting with the guys in 3D in Maya. Watching paint dry with the renderings and things like this, and then the next week I'd be doing brand development for another brand. So it was like, okay, this is where I am now. This is where I want to be. I don't want to be an agency creative director. I don't want to be a brand. I just want to create stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to be a creative. I don't want to be pigeonholed.
You don't have to have a label on it, do you? You're actually, as creatives, we do so many different things.
Yeah.
And why limit ourselves when we've got so much potential?
But people want to see that. I remember at the time, I was speaking to a creative director. I'm not going to mention his name, but he was looking through my portfolio, and he was like, "Oh God, Trent, your stuff is so amazing, but what kind of creative are you?"
Oh.
When people do the portfolio reviews and they're like, "What kind of?" And it's like, that's a stupid question to ask somebody.
It really is, yeah.
It's a stupid question to ask somebody. What kind of creative are you? I'm a creative person who likes the challenge of creatively coming up with solutions for people's problems. Like, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know what I'm called. Do we have to put a name on it?
So Steel Drums was, I think I was 25.
Yeah.
At the time, we were on Margaret Street.
Wow.
My partner at the time was black. He was the same person who got me into the industry at the beginning.
Oh, I see.
So we came kind of like full circle. We worked together for four and a half years. Amazing time. From 3 people to 20 people within, I think, 3 to 6 months. We were doing campaigns for Comet, for HMV, Clark's. We were working with Quiet Storm, M&C Saatchi's, Y&R. We were just working with all of the big boys. I think at the time, we were so excited to just be 2 black guys in Soho, owning a production company, 25, 27 years old.
Exciting.
Kicking it. And I suppose looking back, we probably should have done a lot more in regards to PRing ourselves.
Yeah.
And making a big noise and fuss about it. But we didn't. Again, we were just like...
humble.
We're just doing it for the love. We're just doing it for the work. We weren't trying to fly a flag. We didn't want to be poster boys for the black community or nothing like that. We
just wanted to do some creative.
We just wanted to do good creative stuff. And the nice thing was that all of the projects and clients that worked with us at the time were not working with us because we were black or to target a specific audience.
You weren't a tick in the box.
They were like, these guys know what they're talking about. They get the job done and they're really good creatives. Let's give them the work.
Yeah.
So it was fun. Sadly, it came to a bit of a sour end.
Sometimes things do.
It happens. It
does.
But again, I never look back with regret. It was an amazing time. It's fantastic.
Amazing. I've really loved listening to all this because I kind of, I've freelanced. I've never worked in-house. I have worked for one agency I discovered quite early on that I was a bit of a free spirit. So I was always going to do my own thing, a little rebel. I love, actually, you mentioned before that you didn't go to university, but have you seen lately that UCAS are going to be encouraging more people to consider an apprenticeship, a vocational apprenticeship, rather than go to university? Do you think that's a good thing?
I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I do.
I tell you why. When I didn't go to university for two reasons. Number one, I just didn't get a look in.
Yeah.
Again, I had nobody guiding me through that interview experience and how to approach all of these London amazing colleges of art and this and that and this and that and this and that and this and that. But as I said, you know, in the 18 months of working at A3 Studios with top creative directors sitting next to me and me learning from them, when I left there, I was miles ahead of people who were leaving university. I was employing people who I used to go college with, and I was miles ahead of them.
That was amazing.
So
without the debt.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm going to be a little bit controversial here by saying, in all honesty, I don't think anybody in the creative who wants a career in the creative industry, in regards to like design and art direction and you know, directing and motion and all of that kind of stuff, you don't need to go to university. What are you going to university for? Learn on the job. It's the only way you're going to learn. I've interviewed and employed so many people graduates from university. The amount of time which equates to financial resources that I have to use to get them up to speed.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It is a lot.
That's a whole big conversation, isn't it? Like we really have to get rid of this kind of rite of passage thing that, you know, kids have to go through. Like there's somehow a failure if they don't go to university. That's absolute bollocks.
It is. I had a ball by not, like I said, you know, I was learning on the job. I was earning money. I was making my contacts. I was working on great campaigns, which, you know, that side of things helped me at a very early age to understand the business of advertising, to then go on to have two successful agencies. So after Still Drum, I then set up my own complete 100% independent agency, which was 77 Creative.
Yeah.
I was born in 77, and it would have been
great year.
It would have been weird to call my agency Trent Payne Creative. It's like, I don't know, 77. There you go.
That'll do.
Yeah.
Draw a logo for it. Done.
Yeah, it literally was that.
So you went back to working for yourself after all that, you know, and I suppose you would have had an amazing black book, like loads of industry contacts, well known and respected.
Some industry contacts, but they were mainly, again, client side. I spent a lot of time creating relationship with clients.
Yeah.
I was spending a lot of time creating relationships with people who could give me projects directly, rather than begging agency people to give me work. Because
it's actually,
again, with the agency environment, you either have to continue to keep relationships with people, and the moment there's a gap, somebody else is filling in that gap.
Yeah.
So it's very, very tiring. You can't not speak to somebody for a year, come back to them and go, oh, I'm back in the scene now. You got anybody who knows? They'll be like, fuck off.
Yeah, freelancing is very much like that. You have to you leave the agency world, you go freelance, you kind of do a little bit of freelance work for the agency, but your kind of ultimate goal is to get your own direct clients because they're the best.
Yeah.
And when you've got like 3 or 4, 5 maybe, depending on what kind of field you're working in, you can just fly. You know, I had a client that I worked with for 10 years until I had a Don Draper moment and looked out the window and went, I've got to do something else. And it wasn't anything personal. They were great. They were lovely. And actually, my husband's still working with them and everything's great. But my heart wasn't in it anymore and I had to leave.
Well, that was like me with 77 Creative. I mean, I ran that for 9 years.
Yeah.
It started off as just me because it was right in the middle of the last recession.
Oh gosh, yes.
So I actually launched the company in April 2009. I
Yeah.
then moved to Poland, to Warsaw in
What?
May, kept an office in London, opened an office in Poland.
What was the reason for that?
I needed to get out of the London bubble.
Right.
It was, I'd spent, it's just 2009, I suppose, what's that? Like working how long in the industry? 11, 12 years in the industry.
You needed a break.
I just needed a complete break. And I wanted to do things my way. And I wanted to work with clients that I wanted to work with. Mm-hmm. The opportunities in the UK were very, very slim, especially for a black creative. Even with all of the experience I had, it was just becoming too boring, too tiring. I met my ex-wife at the time, and she was Polish, and she was like, "Look, there's lots of opportunities in Poland. There are so many international brands entering into the Polish market. You have international experience.
Yeah.
I can like introduce you to a few people."
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's
like,
really helpful.
It was like, now I have a free new business person. Why not?
Do it.
Which then led to 9 years of working, establishing my agency there, employing great talent, working with great talent, and working with Louis Vuitton, working with Moet Hennessy, which, their entire portfolio of brands. So
Amazing.
Clicquot, Dom Perignon, Hennessy, doing short form documentaries, lots of experientials. So really tap into that luxury market, which was just amazing. I learned so much. And then like you said, there was one morning, it was 2018, and it was literally looking out the window and going, fucking hell, I haven't slept for 15 years. I've owned 2 businesses. I'm really tired now. I don't think I want to do this anymore.
I love that you're putting your hands on your hips.
Yeah, I am. And I was like, literally, I don't want to do this anymore. It took me a while because I was like, will people see me as a failure? Will I be seen as a failure?
The pride kicks in.
Oh, pride is, even for myself, pride is probably my biggest enemy. And it took the humbling of, again, my parents came to my rescue, and they were like, "Oh, behave yourself. Come on, you've done a lot.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?" And it was
what are you trying to prove?
And I was coming back to the UK. So again, and then, being hit by this, I didn't do a good job of maintaining my network and my relationships, admittedly.
Right.
So it was very, very hard for me to get back in the game. So again, to any young creatives, it is important to nourish your relationships in your networks. It is
They're like plants. You've got to keep watering them.
It's got to be done. And I'll skip over, bright partnerships. Great time.
Okay.
Not the right place. It was just an agency where I very quickly discovered once you own an agency,
yes,
you can't work in an agency.
No, because you see what they're doing wrong.
And somebody's going to look at you as a threat. Like there's always one person who's just going to give you a hard time. And I live a life of I don't own a car because I don't like the stress of owning a car and driving.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I would totally agree with that.
I strip back a lot of the things which will add stress to my life, so I have time to nourish myself and not stress about other things.
Yes.
And then, I said, I think I want to work back in the brand. When I was working at Ben & Jerry's, being employed, that was my happiest. And here I am at TouchNote, which
is where you are now.
Yeah.
What a journey.
It's just amazing.
Are you really enjoying it? You're smiling.
Seriously, I feel like a kid.
Oh, that's great.
I'm allowed to be me as a creative.
Yeah.
Dan, our CEO, Joanna, who's my the chief marketing officer, who I report directly into, really allow people within the brand to own their position, own their space. And, you know, you don't just have, you've got your brand objectives, you've got things that you need to do for the brand, but then you have so much freedom to come up with your ideas. And if you come up with an idea, it's like, okay, that's a good idea. Well, follow it through then. And you're just encouraged to follow it through. It's you know, it's a card. Sorry, not a card. It's a company. We sell an app in which you can sell greeting cards and postcards, completely personalized from your phone. And it's all about, the brand really is all about nurturing relationships. So, you know, being 44, having been there, seen it, done it, it's nice not to sell alcohol or sugary drinks and these type of things. It's like now I'm like, yeah, okay, it's a brand with purpose.
Yeah, and it kind of supports the creative community as well, doesn't it? Because you bring in artists and
massively.
illustrators.
I mean, part of my job, which I've now undertaken, which is hugely satisfying, is bringing on board new artists to our platform, which we commission. So there's a fantastic artist in Brighton, Train, who produces a lot of our work. She's absolutely amazing. I've also used my position and my platform to bring on artists of color. So we've got an amazing artist who we've been working with recently called JL, My Nubian Art. So like for Mother's Day, you know, it's like, okay, let's have more diversity within our card artwork and things like this.
Oh, that's great.
And we're about to launch a community platform for our artists. So any creatives around the world can submit their artwork to us. And once it goes through a review process, it will be uploaded into the app for people to use. And then, you know, you get paid a percentage per card used for life. So it's
for life. Really, that's fantastic.
As long as the card is on our platform, every time somebody uses it, you will just earn a commission off that. So it's like the safest creative Bitcoin thing. Like you're just gonna, you know what I mean? Like it's risk free. But I really am wanting to use my time at TouchNote to bring on board and empower other people within the creative community. So I'll be getting in touch with you very soon for some insights about that. But I'm really, really happy where I am at TouchNote. Everybody's just really, really encouraging and really nice, and it's lovely.
That's great. Oh, and nothing to feel ashamed of, having grown a business and let it go, and now you're sort of back for working for someone else. And also, I suppose, with all the events of last year, you know, the other positive, obviously, is that things seem to be shifting forward a little bit.
Well,
it's not a massive change, but what do they say? You know, with every kind of cultural revolution, it's just like a little nudge forward.
I think, the discussion is being had. Like I'm old enough to. Again, I've been listening to discussion since I entered the industry in '94.
Yeah, a bit tired of it.
Like Puff Daddy says, you know what I mean? Don't speak about it, be about it. So unless I don't want to see people's commitments. I don't want to see manifestos. I don't care about that. Black people don't care about that.
No.
It's almost like people talk to disguise their inability to actually make real change.
Yeah.
It's the people who are doing that I'm interested, not the people who are talking.
They've got so much power as well and money to put behind these things. They could do so many amazing things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I have hope. I have hope. And I have made a commitment to myself and to my peers that I will, even as a Black person, I need to get more involved now. I need to put myself out there more now, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to, I even within TouchNote, you know, it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? And they are extremely supportive, because what we don't want it to be is reactionary. TouchNote is already a diverse company with over 50 plus staff from 25 different nations, and it hasn't been a reaction to a nice gender balance as well. So it hasn't been a reaction to BLM or Me Too or anything like this. So again, it makes it a really nice organic environment to work in, but then gives me the space to then go out there and use my experience and my platform to speak to other brands, other agencies, or other creatives.
Absolutely. It all starts with us, doesn't it? It's like throwing lots of little pebbles into a massive pond and just seeing those ripples.
I remember my dad, when I first entered the industry, and it's something that I say to, you know, when people say, have you got any advice? Because I think we're going to wrap up soon.
You can tell, you know my sort of podcasting style.
But I always say to younger people, mix with people who don't look and think like you. It's very simple. And if you're going to have children, let them mix with people, children who don't look or think like them outside of school, not just inside school, but outside of school. Because it's that organic change that will make an impact, rather than policies and policies and policies and policies and policies.
And divide, you know?
Just mix with people. Just mix with people. That's all you need to do. Then that will naturally combat, what is this term they use? Unconscious bias.
It will. Normalise it all. Bring us all together.
Yeah. You don't have to condition people for unconscious bias. Everyone's bloody unconsciously biased about something. Yeah. You're less biased about something if you're exposed to things or people from, you know, who think differently from you, and your life is going to be easier. There you go. I've solved racism.
Well, on that amazing epic note, I will wrap this up. Oh, lots to think about. Thank you so much, Trent.
Thank you, Katie. I feel really privileged being a part of this, and you know, I've always been a huge fan of Creative Boom, and it's really exciting to see these range of podcasts that you've been doing. Even for myself, they have been very, very, very inspiring. So thank you for all of the work that you're doing. It's amazing. Amazing.
You've been listening to the Creative Boom podcast with your host, Katie Cowan. Thanks to our sponsor, Shillington, the original graphic design bootcamp where you can study at one of its 6 campuses around the world or via its online course. To find out more, go to shillingtoneducation.com. If you're enjoying the show and you want to support us, don't forget to subscribe or leave us a review. It really helps. You can find all the links and more via creativeboom.com/podcast. Join me next time when my guest will be Nikki Golder, the Chief Executive of Create, the UK's leading charity empowering lives through the creative arts.